This is Justin Dave Lovato with My 2 Cents. Welcome back, everybody. I'm really excited for this episode. I have Chris Bell here, my buddy Sean, and we're going to talk about some pretty cool stuff. But first, I just want to thank my sponsors. Jonathan Phillips, always trusted, fully stocked, produces products that are NSF tested, MLB, NFL, all banned substances, controlled groups like the Olympics, World Anti-Doping Agency, safe for all sports, NCAA, QIG tested, several exclusive products found only at Max Muscle in Huntington Beach, extremely knowledgeable staff, and located down a mile from Pacific Ocean. If you guys go to the store and mention My 2 Cents, you'll also get 10% off.
That's a great store, by the way. That's a Huntington Beach one.
Yeah.
I think the guy that runs it is a nutritionist or something.
Yeah.
He tests all his own products. That's, what's his name?
Jonathan Phillips.
John. Yeah, I know John.
You do know him.
He's a great guy, yeah. He's friends with Jimmy Bluff, and we've talked before.
Very cool.
Yeah. He does a lot of good things for the community, too. Like, we did a tour where we were helping people out with Jimmy Bluff doing body work and stuff like that, and he donated money to that and stuff like that. Great
That's
guy.
awesome. Yeah, like, when he contacted me, he was all about supporting the cause that we were doing while we were doing this podcast. So it's so cool that you know him as well. And it's all for the same shit.
Yeah.
Also,
we know cool people.
Yeah. Also, I want to thank Vicor and the release of their new TerraCore. I've used it, actually. It's pretty badass. Check out VicorFitness.com or follow Jim Sherpa to find out more about their amazing products. Thank you, Vicor.
That's a badass product, too.
Yeah, they're releasing it everywhere right now.
Greg Nigro, who I think is the sales president.
Sales rep for them, yeah.
Greg was the one that brought it to me and showed me. I was like, at first, like, what are you going to do with this? And then we did a video with it. And he was showing Laura and my girlfriend all the different stuff you could do with it. We shot a video, and I think after seeing that, it's a pretty badass product.
Yeah, now they made it, like, portable. You remember the Vicor bench on the very first part of the room? I don't know if it was there before you left, Sean. It was...
the front of Golds?
The very front of Golds. Do you know where the benches were in the first room? It's that very first bench. They made this bubble bench. I don't know.
No, yeah, that was after me.
It's like an exercise ball.
Yeah, it's like an exercise ball that made into a bench. And it's pretty cool. It's just cool
stuff.
Wow.
Because basically, you're going to get on that and you fall right off.
Yeah,
so you have to, like, balance. It's a balance thing.
Yeah, they have those for offices now, too. Like, people use them instead of chairs.
Them damn stabilizer muscles.
So, did you work out today, Chris?
No, I didn't work out today. I worked on being fat. That's about it.
Well, it is Sunday fun day.
Yeah, football was on and everything.
Did you watch?
I watched. I was watching the Broncos game, and then I haven't been feeling good today, so I actually fell asleep. And then it was like some amazing ending, and the Patriots lost. So
We didn't even know that.
I fucking missed it. And now the Panthers, when I was on the way over here, they have it pretty well in hand. They're like 24-7 right now. They're winning. It's only halftime, so
That's pretty good.
So it's looking like Denver, Carolina.
Basically, I'm just saying that I can't go to the gym when football's on. It's just another good excuse.
And if you guys don't know Chris Bell, he's pretty awesome. He's come up with some great films. Bigger, Stronger, Faster. If you guys don't know him, Trophy Kids, and now Prescription Thugs, which we're going to be talking about today. I actually went and saw his premiere when it came out, and it was really cool. A lot of information, and to the point where, I wanted him on the show right away. And he's so knowledgeable, and he does nothing but put out good films that raise awareness for what we need to be thinking about all the time. Take some self-responsibility, too, in doing our own research and stuff. And he actually took some of that responsibility and did it for everyone out here. So I'm excited to have him on the show.
And I'm excited to be here. I mean, Justin and I have been friends for a pretty long time. When did you move out here?
Venice, probably like 5 years ago. Betty Callie almost 8.
I met Justin through my former training partner, who's a fucking maniac, named Michael Hearn.
Yes.
And I think maybe you started lifting with him
when I first came here, that was actually the first guy I met pretty much at the gym, and I trained with Mike for about 6 months.
It's crazy because that's like the true test of, like, can you hang? And, like, so we used to do powerlifting, and at the time I was competing. So my excuse was to Hearn, because, like, I know that it's not going to, like, make me that tired, or, when people don't want to go on a treadmill because it's I can't lose a pound. I'll get,
right.
I got to be strong or whatever. It was a lie to get out of trying to train.
Train with Mike?
Well, we would squat, right? And we were, at the time, I think my max squat was 675 in a meet, and I was going head-to-head with O'Hearn, and he's just one of those guys that he'll go squat and squat heavy, and then he'll do, like, leg press and hack squats and everything you can possibly think of, and that's his workout. And you're like, dude, you did, like, 3 workouts today, and he's still able to recover and not get injured, and that's an amazing thing.
That's really true about Mike. When I trained with him, I realized his endurance training with heavyweight was very impressive.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk shit on him and say, "Oh, he's
like he doesn't
natural.
lift. He doesn't lift the most weight that I've seen, but he lifts extremely decent weight,
pretty close,
consistently through the workout, which is what's impressive. Like most people say your bench is 405, and you hit that for a few, but you wouldn't then max out on another type of press, and then another type of press, and another type of press, which he does, which is impressive. Like that was something that was new for me. I would get to the point where we'd be at the third or fourth, and I'm keeping up pretty well because I'm also like 15 years younger than Mike.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, now we're going to go dumbbells. And I'm thinking moderate weight. He's like, no. He's like, you grab the ones you would normally do your first working set with. But yeah,
he's not really in like he'll warm up in the beginning.
Barely warms up.
He'll like warm up in the beginning, and then that's it. Like he's warm. He doesn't need to warm up on every exercise.
Which is I can't do at all.
I have to start with the light ones. Let's just start with the 50s and see where we go. Yeah, see how we feel.
Yeah, he just grabs one, and then the next set is his first set.
I think.
Do they still have that magazine cover of Mike in golds?
Yeah, in the corner by the leg press.
Yeah, that was the most surreal moment for me because I'd see him like on the elliptical and then his big magazine cover like right behind him.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that magazine cover? It's not a real magazine cover. they somehow made that for them. I don't know if he made it or if he made it or whatever. It's definitely cool though. I mean, I would love. Put it this way, I'm kind of pissed because I made a movie that everybody in that gym saw, and they won't put my poster on the wall.
Well, you got to pay for it. That's what I heard.
No, they wanted to, first they wanted to put an autographed poster on the wall, and then Gold's Corporate wouldn't let them do it because they don't want anything to do with the movie because it's about steroids, and we know that nobody would do steroids. Especially at the mecca of bodybuilding. Why would anybody want to?
That's fucking ridiculous. I didn't know that. But I hear even everybody who has a picture up at the mecca, they actually paid for it.
Yeah, the movie though, really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Huh.
Which is fucked up.
That's like bad because then it's like you go, wait, now you don't like respect these
people. Not all of them, but I heard a lot of the people that have.
I could imagine.
They pay for at least the mounting, maybe the frames.
I can imagine that because there's some random people out there
on the mall. Yeah.
Yeah, it pulls the wool over your eyes, like exactly what your documentaries do, man. Like expose people to what's really going on.
Yeah, and sure, and it's crazy because they have all these pictures of like bodybuilders that don't even. They like haven't been around forever, and they still have them up there. And it's random how they're up there because there's no like really consistency to it. Like every time,
no rhyme or reason.
It's just like anytime something cool happens, they'll like throw somebody's jersey up on the wall or and
it doesn't even look good. It's not even like aligned. The frame doesn't match the other frame.
But that's what's beautiful about the gym is like the frame doesn't match the frame, but then when you're down on the floor, the dumbbell doesn't match the dumbbell you're looking for. You're always looking for something. And you know what's ridiculous? Like I go to my brother's gym up in Sacramento. And it's big. It's about the size of maybe the front room or something like that. It's like just one big room, and his shit's all neat. Like everything's all put away. Yeah, these are powerlifters. These are like total meatheads that like are throwing all the people that are the bad guys at Golds that use chalk and things like that. And I'm not coming down on Golds. I actually love the Mecca. I wouldn't want to train.
Well, no, it's been since the introduction of all the new. Classes with bodybuilding, the gym isn't as great because a lot of people just don't respect the gym as much anymore. We were just talking about that earlier, this weekend in particular, the Fit Expo. And I went in there last night because I picked up 2 people to train.
You're going to say the same thing I know what you're going to say.
Dude, I've never seen such horrible shit in my life. Even Brad Rowe was filming this guy about to shrug like 10 plates on each side. And I was getting so pissed because that guy just bent one of our bars. Because he loaded up 10 plates or 9 plates on each side of this fucking bar. And it was just sitting on the rack, and it was fully bent. I'm like, that fucking dick doesn't even come here.
Yeah.
Paid $20 and just bent a bar that's already scarce to find in our gym. And, he just fucked up. And he did a quarter of an inch. One rep.
Is that the one Brad Rowe posted a picture of that, right?
Yeah, he posted a picture.
It kind of looked like Charles Glass.
It did look like Charles Glass.
I was trying to like tell for like 5 minutes. I was like staring at that picture going, is that really Charles Glass?
It did look like Charles Glass.
Like Charles Glass that hasn't deadlifted at least.
And he's deadlifted 8 or 9 plates.
Well, but Charles Glass, he started as a power lifter. He's like, he's sort of the man around there,
Yeah, he was strong. I heard he was strong as a bodybuilder.
He told me he benched 500.
Yeah, I heard he had a good strong bench. I heard he outbenched a lot of guys back in the day for even his weight.
And Charles is like one of the guys that tend to believe he doesn't really have a reason to like lie to, especially to us.
I like Charles. He's cool.
He's what's consistent about Charles is like he's always claimed the same thing for forever. So yeah, I just tend to believe him. I think he was a guy that was like 180 pounds that bench 500 though, which is kind of crazy, but. like we've seen that, we've seen it, but not it's pretty rare.
And if you actually watch the video on the screen, you saw what Charles looked like. He was pretty impressive. He was a big dude.
Yeah, he was amazing too. He's just another guy I really respect because he's another guy in the gym he's just in there doing it, and he's in there every single day. It's consistency. He doesn't brag about it. He's not taking pictures for his Instagram or his Facebook page.
I just was talking to him last night about why when I explain who Charles Glass is to other people who ask about him as a trainer. And I told, literally last night, I go, what makes Charles so good? And I go, what makes you so good as a trainer is that you still want to be the best trainer in the gym. And that's the most true statement when it comes to Charles. Like, Charles is still hungry to be better than any trainer in that gym.
I have a feeling, and you might disagree with this, that you're sort of going that way too, though.
100%.
There is a sort of a line to train with Justin now. Like, and he's training people like Josh Brolin. What a fucking great guy that is.
Yes.
But just such a nice guy. What a nice guy, and what a great guy to have as a client.
Josh was such a cool blessing, man. He approached me and he just said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some things." So we kept spotting each other in the gym, and I knew who he was. And I was like, "All right, we'll see how this goes." And we just clicked. He's gonna be. I can't wait to have him on. He's gonna be fantastic.
We were talking about prescription thugs. I actually met him through in the program. We talk about it a lot. We try to help other people, and he's a great person for me. There's some guys at Joe Manganiello who he did the Q&A at my premiere. He's a guy that I just have looked up to since I went to AA, since I went to and got involved in getting sober. Was like Manganiello was a guy living in his car 12 years ago, and now he just married one of the hottest girls ever and started Magic Mike. I mean,
shout out to Magic Mike.
You don't have more fun than that in life. I mean, really, you marry like the hottest chick on the planet, and then you're in Magic Mike, and all these chicks obsess over you. And Joe is just a guy that likes to lift. He's really he'd rather sit here and bullshit with us about lifting than be on a movie set.
Yeah, that's true.
It comes from.
Well, I think it's a reflection of you guys. Justin has this positive energy, which we've talked about in the past, and then it attracts other people like yourself, like the Josh Brolins of the world, people that are good people.
Yeah, and Josh is seriously one of the nicest people I've ever met.
He is.
When I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to, talk to you quick," and I told him, my background a little bit, and he just immediately was like, "Hey, cool," he's like, "What do you do now? Have you made any other movies?" And I told him about Bigger, Stronger, Faster. He went home and watched it.
Yeah,
that night, that night, and he just watched it, and then he came in the next day. He was like, "Dude," I need to talk to you. And then he basically we became friends.
Yeah, he's just a true bro. That's the best way to put it. He's a moral bro. He's one of my favorite clients.
It's always shocking when you meet people like that too. You're like, this guy.
Well, I trained Mickey, so
yeah. This guy, he's famous, but he's just like me. He acts the same way. You think that this guy's been in the public eye. You don't really think of people as being real meatheads, but when you meet one that is, Stone Cold Steve Austin's a prime example. He's just a pro wrestler. He's not, but he is so into lifting. He wants to know everything. So
that's cool.
We'll ask him
little depth to everybody. Yeah. Really excited to be talking with you guys today who are listening because I saw Chris's film. Just last week?
Yeah,
just last week on Wednesday, and it's stuff I've already been really interested into, and I love that it came out because I love when stuff is clarified for me. And just put out there for everyone else to see. I'm like, see, everybody else see this? Because everybody else see this finally? And it's sometimes it's probably extremely frustrating for you because it is for me because we always why is it like this? And nothing's done about it.
You know why? I think a lot of people haven't seen it all put together, and that's what great documentaries do. Is sort of put it all together for you. We see this stuff on the news all the time, but we don't really look into it or go in depth. And so with a movie, you can look at something and say, wait a second. There was a drug tainted with the AIDS virus, and instead of just going and incinerating all that stuff, so it's never around to hurt anybody, they just send it over to France and sell it there because they can't sell it.
Because they can't sell it.
It's tainted with the AIDS virus, and you're like, how did this happen? How does nobody know about it?
And then why does nobody get in trouble?
Why is nobody kicking down doors? And
that's the most fucked up part. Why is nobody getting in trouble?
So, Chris, is that sort of your process? Do you take a topic per se, that's kind of bugging you where you're putting the pieces together, and then once you get them together, you're like, I just need to tell somebody, inside, you just need to get it out?
Yeah, this movie actually came from a friend of mine, actually a mutual friend, Chris Masters. He went through a very similar thing in pro wrestling, got hurt, got hooked on, we're talking about prescription thugs, he got hooked on prescription pills, painkillers to be the main thing. And we had gotten talking about it, and then there was a point where I was on it too for my hip surgery. and we were both on at the same time, and it was all kind of like fun and games. But when it came crashing down on both of us, and Chris lost his job at WWE, and I basically, went down that path too. It was terrible because he was a guy that at 20 years old had made it to the WWE and maybe cost him his career with the WWE. However, he's been able to get sober, and what I really admire about Chris is he's going all over the world.
Yeah, he's badass. Chris is
wrestling. But the thing that it was is when we both got on Suboxone, we realized that this was a system that we were in, and so when I nicknamed it they're like prescription thugs. Basically, doctors are giving you stuff that's going to keep you addicted, and a big pharma's making it, and everybody's making money, in this loop. You're never going to get out of it, and that's what I thought it was at first. And then we've learned that prescription thugs exist on many levels. There's a lot of great doctors out there. There's a lot of great people doing great things in the medical world, but there's also a lot of people that are just there to take your money and don't really care what happens to you. I don't think they're purposely trying to kill you, but I think that they're just going with the program.
They're going with their best interest too, which is to make money, to make a living, to feed their family. And your movie touches base on that, the fact that once these people come to these doctors for help, these people are customers now, and that's the scary part. When
ironically, this movie, we were just talking about Chris Masters and all these meatheads and all these other people I have around. And Bigger, Stronger, Faster was a movie that talked about anabolic steroid use. So these are the drugs that the doctors would tell you. If I went to the doctor and told him I had anything wrong with me and told him I was on steroids, he'd say, "Well, you got to get off the steroids. Come on, that's killing you." And so the doctors will tell us that these steroids kill us. But if you look at a drug like Lipitor, it robs your body of cholesterol. Now your body cannot make testosterone. Now you have low testosterone, you have a heart attack, you die. It's the dumbest drug on the planet, and people are buying it left and right.
By the handfuls.
Well, Lipitor is one of the biggest drugs, and they found so much evidence come out against it, saying if you have high cholesterol, it might just be genetic. It might not be that it's going to kill you. And so I think a lot of people they don't hear that part of it, and so when they go in, they ask their doctor, because that's what the TV commercials tell you to do. Ask your doctor. But what should be doing is sort of questioning the doctor, why do I need to take this?
Right. That's such a great thing, is just being more self-aware and understanding the right type of questions to ask instead of just completely relying on somebody and trusting somebody, even though it is a doctor. You got to ask the right questions and let them answer them.
Well, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, Chris, your documentary does a good job of showing all the lobbying in government that these big companies are doing, and the average consumer doesn't realize that when they're going to buy or talk to the doctor.
Now, I don't think they realize everything that goes into it. I mean, from the day that they set out to make the drug, the marketing team is working. They're working on how we're going to sell this thing. And you'll see that, there's drugs on TV. I would not trust any drug that I see advertised on TV. Because, why do you have to advertise it? If there was a panacea, if there was something that, came along and it was the cure, then everybody would be raving about it. And I think that something that had come along that was sort of working for a lot of people, but the government shut it down, which is like marijuana. I think that was working for a lot of people. And, the government tries to push that out, but we've seen this great movement with all these people getting together and banding together and saying hey, we want this, and
it's happening now.
It's making me feel better.
It's pretty cool what we're able to do with marijuana in the last few years, and getting the truth out about it and spreading the news about it, because it is more so of a medication than anything that actually works.
Sure. It's hard for me. It's I can't even really condone it. I would condone it over prescription drugs, but I can't even really condone it because I'm in a program that we're not allowed to touch anything that affects you, from the neck up, and that's something that I try to just stay true to. And to tell you the truth, I've tried marijuana for pain, but I've tried the wrong kind, not the CBD that I've been hearing about like crazy. But and it just didn't do much. I got a little high, and it made me feel better. This was a long time ago, but it didn't make me. It didn't take me completely out of pain, and the painkillers do. That's what's crazy about them.
Yeah, and it's hard to decipher and who's actually in pain and who's an addict, probably for most people, and how are you going to deny people who are in actual pain?
It affects people differently. There's people that are cancer patients that tell me oh my God, if I smoke, I feel so much better. And who am I to tell them
not to have a cigarette?
Well, not to have smoke weed. I don't think that it's a bad thing.
Weed.
Yeah. I will even that tell them to do something. Telling somebody that's dying to do something that's going to kill them is hard to talk about. How do you talk them out of it?
That is true.
There's a comedian. He's one of my favorite comedians. He's so dark and so wrong. and his name is Doug Stanhope, and he talks about his mom committing suicide and how he basically assisted her. She said, I don't want to be around anymore. She was a mess. She was like 90 years old, and he tells his story, and it's like, it ends up actually being really funny, even though it sounds
real dark humor.
Yeah, it's really. I forgot what I was talking about now because I was like getting excited about this.
No, you were talking about.
What were you talking about? Oh no, he said to his mom. He said, "Mom, what are you gonna do with all these AA coins? You can't take them with you. You can't cash them in heaven. Let's go have a drink." You know, he basically convinced his mom, who's been sober for like 20 years, to go have a drink with him.
Oh wow, I gotta hear this. That's good.
Yeah, was she okay afterwards? Like, was she able to stop?
Doug Stanhope, just listen to him. You'll be mad at me because you're like, why did you tell me to listen to that? That's so horrific.
I like the dark humor, though.
Yeah, it's got it.
Well, there's logic behind it, you know, and that's
I think, comedians are great because they're just taking things that are in real life and they're sort of pointing them out. And, like, we kind of do the same thing in the documentaries, but we find things that are real, that really happened, and say, like, look at this. Can you believe this? Like, there was a...
This actually happens.
There's a thing. It didn't end up in the movie. We just had so many different clips and ended up being, like, nowhere to put it. But I thought it actually illustrated the point the best out of any of the pictures, but I think a lot of the audience, they don't really get it. So we were doing that thing. There was a thing about Eminem on 60 Minutes, and Eminem was talking about how he did all these prescription drugs. All the drugs he did were like these crazy prescription drugs, and he'd take a lot of them, and he almost died. And at the very end, they said, for more information, go to 60minutes.com, you know, for the Eminem story. It says, sponsored by Pfizer. I'm like, are you kidding?
Wow.
This guy just talked about how he put himself almost in the grave, you know, with prescription drugs, and then the episode is actually sponsored by Pfizer, who makes Lipitor, Viagra, everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they're laughing at us as they're showing it to us.
Yeah, it's like they do stuff like that all the time. It's just ridiculous. Like on the World Series and Super Bowl, they'll show those commercials for low T.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, do you have low T? And it's like they're going after guys that look up to these sports guys. Like, I want to be like that guy. I remember when I was young and I could do this.
Yep.
I want to be like that guy again. And they're going after those people. And so they're exploiting steroids on one hand, because that's what it is. Like, let's not get it twisted. Everybody tries to twist it. You know, people like, you say, well, are you on anything? They're like, well, I just do HRT. And you're like, no, you're on steroids. Like, what? Just fucking call a spade a spade.
That's what it is.
Let's not be a pussy and be like, no, I'm not on anything. Just say,
and that's how they too. This world's come to a thing where they think steroids is, unless you're playing a professional sport that condones it, it's not cheating. A lot of people do it to improve their life. A lot of people are taking testosterone to feel better, and it's for a better quality of life, and people get that switched up a lot.
Yeah, sure. And there's a lot
of Chris, you hit on it in your documentary, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. You know, people want to look a certain way, and so they're going to take it, and it doesn't matter. And,
you know, the thing is, we got to talk about the flip side of it, because we got to be, you know, balanced here. There's a lot of people I know in the gym that have really messed themselves up from using steroids. Like, they take too much, they do it wrong. Now, it's not going to, like, kill you instantly, like some of these drugs like Oxycontin will, you know, completely stop your breathing and you die, and that can happen if you overdose within 3 to 4 minutes. Steroids don't work like that, but people have bad shots, they get infections, they have all these things go on because they don't really know what they're doing. So I would tell anybody out there, if they're looking about getting into it, I would first watch Bigger, Stronger, Faster, give you a good sort of basis for it, and then I would go out and
for it.
Yeah, and do my research. And exactly, people need to respect it. Like, you can't just take a bottle of testosterone.
So I always tell people, even with marijuana, I go, listen, just wait till you're an adult.
Yeah.
There you go. It's the best way to put it. And I mention this all the time. Like, when you think you're an actual adult, and you know when you're an adult, that's when you research your own shit. That's when you look into what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, and it's not for some stupid purpose, but it goes with being an adult. Make the proper decisions. Do your research. Like,
and I think we all do these things, like, as you know, as we get young and crazy, as they say, is like we see a lot of people in Gold's Gym that used to do steroids like crazy, and like, you know, now they don't, and they're like teaching people how to do like aerobics or something, you know. And we see that, like, we see stuff like that all the time, where these guys, like, a lot of the people in the gym in Gold's are people that were former bodybuilders and like former like gigantic steroid freaks who are kind of like, I think looking at the other guys like, that guy's crazy. Like, what is he doing with himself?
Yep.
And, you know, I've talked to some of those guys before, and it's like we all do things like when we're younger that we think we want to do, and then we get out of it. And like, but those people are all fine. They're not dying. They're not sick looking. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but they're fine. It's just like, I always say, like, if you did something, like, own up to it. Don't just be like, I was young back then, and just like going up to it. Yeah, I did steroids back then. A big deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of like marijuana too. I mean, they're really analogous in that like smear campaign you mentioned in Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Like all the stuff you see in the media is steroids are horrible in the same way. Reefer Madness came out to stop everyone from smoking weed. When, as someone that smokes, that doesn't happen to me when I'm high.
Really?
All the stuff in Reefer Madness.
You must not be getting the good stuff then.
Well, no, he can't even get it legally where he's at.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's completely illegal in the state of Texas.
Share how you get your weed.
I have to use an app. It's called Wicker, and it expires text messages in 24 hours, and then someone will come and deliver it to me, and I usually get like a menu of what he has that day, and that's as good as I can get it.
Does it work? Does it seem to work well, or like the people not show up? I mean,
No, yeah, it works great. They treat it very much like a business.
Like, oh, bro, I'm sorry, I fell asleep.
I didn't get your text message.
Yeah, that still happens at times. It's not as easy as like going to the store. You guys have it easy.
Yeah, we have it made out here.
Well, it's crazy because out here you have like stores, and you walk in the store and they got edibles and all this. But you know what I like about the weed stores that no other store in the United States has, and maybe they should take notice? Customer fucking service.
Beautiful.
The people, you walk in and the people are like, hey! And it's always like hot chicks, and it's always like whatever, as far as I remember when I was.
And the security is better than banks.
Yeah.
The security in a marijuana shop is better than banks. And like me and Sean always say, you don't beat your wife when you're high. Everybody's always really having a good time and having fun.
Yeah. When you walk into a weed store, like, I used to go into this one, it's like down the street. It was on like Venice. You walked in and like everybody was like so happy. Like everybody, like when you walk into Best Buy, people are happy to be there. You know,
That's true.
When you walk into these weed stores, people are like happy to be there. And that's what our whole goal and our whole point, and one of the reasons why I think Justin is great, is just to have fun and not like just let your hair down and not worry about life and not to take everything too seriously. Like Justin's Facebook posts of his wife's ass are great to us because, first of all, it's a good ass.
Right.
Thank you. It's a great ass, but then we have to talk about the fact that they're in love, and you can tell, and it's fun, and it comes out through their posts, both of them.
Not taking shit too seriously.
A little less than with Steph because she's a little bit more
introverted,
conservative.
Yeah.
But I remember when she first moved here. Actually, she was really, really shy.
Super shy.
Definitely helped her come out of her shell and helped her, be.
That's the problem with a lot of discussions I have with people. Is to carry around those insecurities that aren't even real. They're all manifested in your brain for the most part. From society, from molding you to care about things.
My girlfriend works out at Gold's too, Lauren Pappas, and she's like a fitness model and stuff like that. And she was always told that she was stupid because she was dyslexic when she was young. And I think O'Hearn had the same problem. And you have the same problem. And my brother has the same problem. My brother's company is going to hit like $120 million. It's like worth like $120 million. And this is a kid who is dyslexic and dumb and told he couldn't do anything. So when I brag about my brother, because he's a fucking ass kicker. He's the man. He just goes and he puts in work and he does what he loves to do. And like nothing happened easy for him. Like making a slingshot and trying to invent that thing and come up with it is impossible. What you guys are doing with the IAMBUILT clothing line is great because you're taking it slow and you're taking it, like what happens with a lot of these people in business is they come in on fire and then they burn out. Like they come in and they put built on everybody, right?
Everybody.
And all of a sudden it's like, well, everybody got that for free. I don't really want that, right? So then then the company ends up going out of business and not being around anymore. It was like, if you do it slow, you can just stay in business forever, keep making a little side money, and all of a sudden it becomes your main job.
Yeah, and the trick is also being legit. Legit with your company and legit as someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about. We were just, me and Sean, right before you walked in, we were, one of the questions I get is, how do you feel about like people who are true in the fitness industry, but they sell it like they are, like to make money, like to basically like poser, if you will. They're just faking to be fitness to make the money off of social media.
I know girls that don't even work out and they're fitness models and they're making a lot of money doing it.
Lots of money.
And the thing is, like, you can't make a lot of money in fitness unless you have a big following.
True.
So, like, that's the other thing that you have to get into.
Learn to do.
And build up and,
Well, it's marketing now, right? I mean, that's what everyone's doing these days, 2016. It's all like apps, online, on your phone. So it's how we advertise now.
Like, sometimes I'll watch my girlfriend sit there and take 30 minutes to, like, post something. And then, you go through the day and it gets, like, 250 likes, and you're like, that's not even that much, like, shit, what do I gotta do, so then you just start figuring out ways to get more clever with it and, like, keep working on it, but it's definitely something that every athlete and person out there, unless you have people coming knocking down your door, you have to put yourself in a position to be.
Yeah, you'd be creative.
And that's what's great about Built is like if it has a face, like it has like a name. You know, when people go to Mark Bell's Slingshot booth, they go there because they know him. They know him from YouTube. They laugh at him. They think he's funny. They kind of just want to go meet him. And then they end up buying shit too because they feel, they're over there and they're like, oh shit, well I wanted these wrist wraps, so I might as well just buy them right
Well,
here.
that's what's cool too is when you're like cool like your brother and you build a solid company that's also based like slightly moral, you know, like a good company. People notice that and then they want to support you, not just like blatantly, but they want to support you because you inspire them.
Because they aren't mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Like, you can still be a good person and have a morally just product and make money from it.
Exactly.
It's like you don't need to do one or the other.
And you know what happens too is like when you're doing something on like you know, like when it actually blows up to be huge, it's going to be funny because you're going to be like, wait a second, like now I don't have any time to train people. I'm just doing this, all that time. But you can reach more people like that. And I tell a lot of people like that are trainers and stuff like that. I'm like, you know, they'll complain to me about like money or do whatever, and it's like, well, you got to just figure out a way to reach more people.
That's why I have the podcast. That's why we're having
a
this
really good
podcast.
trainer. You know, you just got to get out there to more people. And I think that's what's great about you is like a long time ago. And I don't know if you remember this. You were posting like everything that you ate, and I was like really interested in it because I want to look like you. So how the fuck do I look like you? Right? I'm going to eat like you, and like, you know, I have all this years of like knowledge and training, but like we forget, and so sometimes it's easy. Like, well, Justin ate some eggs with, you know, this chopped up in it, that looked good, I'm going to make that, you know, so I actually like when people post, you know.
Well, it's good, especially when you find people that are credible, and that's actually like going back to the questions, like how do you decipher, and it's hard.
Sure.
You got to like do your research. There's a lot of people that they fake it well, so you got to just make sure you're doing research and make sure you work with people and follow people and support people.
And by the way, let's talk about a little of your shit because it's your podcast. But I just wanted to actually I had a couple of questions for you, and it's like, so you did this, you won this Ferrigno Legacy show. You won the overall heavyweight, right? Is that heavyweight?
Yeah, the super heavyweight.
Yeah, and you look awesome. But like the question I have is like you kind of look like your whole prep that you were having fun, and then on other people's Instagram, they're bitching about the fucking diet, their training, they got to do this, but they're a warrior. But guess what? Warriors don't post on Instagram, so you're not a warrior.
No, yeah.
So it's like,
I think it became cool to pretend to be miserable. That's all that is.
Sure.
It's human beings are very simple, so they're going to do whatever they think is cool at the moment. So if a few of the guys, and not saying like, you know, Kai Green wears the hoodie and it's dark and he goes to a special place. Whoever follows Kai Green is going to follow that. And if they look up to him, they're going to wear the hoodie, the headphones over the hoodie. And that's the thing now. Every bodybuilder wears a hoodie with headphones over it because it's super serious time. It's what it is. And if you don't do that...
I don't know. That could have came from Kai Green. It also could have come from The Rock because The Rock's always in the
Rock always is bad. I understand why he does it because he doesn't want to be seen because he's getting a million pictures taken. That poor guy.
Yeah, exactly like that, Chris.
Yeah, he gets harassed. I feel bad for that guy. He like almost knocked someone out because someone tried to take a picture of him in the locker room or some shit.
Yeah, that was the reason he stopped going there, and that's the problem with people, with famous people, is they act like fucking idiots.
Yeah, they do act like
I was so happy that didn't happen at our premiere with like Joe Manganiello. It was like really, because the people I invited were my people.
Were your people.
But if it was just a random group of people, he would have got swamped and killed by
everybody.
A lot of people that don't understand that he's a real person just like them and doesn't want to talk to them for 20 minutes about their problem. They have a lot of, you know.
Yeah, I think it's hard for a lot of people because even yesterday I was at the Fit Expo, and it's humbling to see people get nervous when they meet you.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Weird, right?
It's strange. It's humbling, and if anything, you feel a little awkward for them, but you want to like get them out of that awkward stage. Like you want to like.
So you just joke with them or something?
Just joke with them. Yeah, like, oh yeah, like, you know, because they're like, they even ask the question. They like, is it weird for people to come up and ask to take a picture with you? And so you're like, no, it's fun inspiring people. That's what it comes down to, and that's what like your film does.
It's great inspiring people, and I love taking pictures with people, and I love when people come to goals.
Yes.
Like, I was looking for you. I was trying to, you know, they'll be like, I was trying to find you, and I was like, well, okay, cool, like that's great. The only problem I don't even care if people do it when I'm training because it's like usually quick. But that's the problem I do have is like, don't overstay your welcome. Like you can come take a picture of me anytime you see me, anytime. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, but just let it be a picture for 5 seconds and let me back to what I'm doing because
we all got our shit.
We're all doing shit too. And like I actually love it when people like come up and talk to me. But then people also do things that are inappropriate. Like you'll be talking to somebody comes butts right in, and then you start talking to you because they already know you or something like that.
Yeah,
that's like rude too. It's like we just have to all have have our manners about us. When
a general understanding of
people's space.
etiquette.
Well, people have a hard time putting themselves in others' shoes. And so, like, they don't understand that your guys' perspective is you're just a normal dude as well. But they've been, like, idolizing you, or they've been watching all your movies, Chris. And so they come up to you and they can't put themselves in your shoes, that you're just a normal guy, too. And, yeah, a picture's cool, but then you got to go about your day.
Yeah, it's great. There's this guy that came to one of the seminars that my brother did, a powerlifting seminar. And he was this really heavy-set guy. And we were, like, the whole time debating if he even works out. So then, like, we were like, why was that guy even there? He had so many questions and didn't even seem like he knew. So then I go to the Fit Expo, and of course, it's like the first guy I see when I walk in, and that guy killed us then, like 20 minutes of questions, and he tried to kill me yesterday, and I kept trying to get away, and I would walk away, and I would get like 5 feet, I'd see somebody else I know, I'd stop and say hi, and there's that motherfucker again, like, right up on me, and I'm like, how do I get rid of this guy? How do I lose my tail? And like the only way to do it is like I had to go inside my brother's booth and like hide. So I went in the booth and pulled out until I got left. And then
I like the people are usually, I haven't come into that problem. I haven't had a stage 5 stalker yet like you, but people have been pretty humbling. But they're like, I know you probably get this all the time, and I know you probably won't write back because you're super busy. But it's nice when you guys show that appreciation of our time too, and give us time to write back and talk to you guys. Because the whole reason why we do what we do, like you write your movie and you produced it and put it out there, is to raise the awareness for you guys to ask the questions.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like you get fired up. You're like, well, I want to get to the bottom of this, and I'm like, I know if I want to get to the bottom of this, a lot of other people want to get to the bottom of it. Anytime, like I've actually, I spend a lot of my day just talking to people. Just being it's a big part of what I do. You have to know people, and you have to be able to get access to people, and have them trust you, and trust is like a huge thing. When somebody trusts you, they'll kind of tell you anything. If they don't trust you, they're going to be like, oh, I've got to be a little, guarded around here, and I think that's important.
And if you guys watch the film, you'll see that Chris is actually overweight in the film because he's actually going through it still.
I'm a fat fuck.
Yeah, you're going through it, and you guys can't see Chris now, but he's doing awesome. He looks amazing for one. And I was
that's a great compliment.
Dude, you look incredible. Because I was telling Sean before he came up, because I was catching Sean up on who you are and stuff, and I'm like, you didn't trade one vice for another. You didn't stop doing the drugs and then switch it for food.
Yeah.
Like, which is huge, man. I mean, kudos, because not a lot of people are able to do that.
So here's what I did. I went to this rehab, Cliffside, Malibu, and the place is like amazing. They have like, they cook for you, they do all, everything. So the meals were like amazing. So I was at Cliffside, Malibu for 10 days. And after 10 days, the guy that owns it, Richard Tate, he's a really good friend of mine, he called me and he said, I know you know that I told you I would take care of you as long as I can. Well, it's come to a point where we need that bed for somebody that's a paying customer. And I was actually getting treated for nothing. And because the guy was in my movie, which is another miracle we'll get to later. But, basically like that guy like helped me, and he helped change my life. And it was pretty simple. I was just actually talking to my brother about this yesterday. It's like, well, how come these other guys can't? I did another movie called The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, I haven't seen it.
I produced it. I was a producer on it. And my friends in Atlanta made it, and that's a great movie, about addiction and everything. And my brother said to me, well, why can't these wrestlers get sober? I said, they never had somebody like this guy, Richard Tate. Richard Tate will make you feel like you're in trouble. And it's weird how some people have that command over you. I look at him like, well, I could kick that guy's ass, but like, what, it doesn't matter. That guy's so powerful and so forceful with his words and what he says that everything he says, you just sort of hang on every word and listen to him because he's so brilliant. And I think like that's the point that I strive to get to. Is like I want to get to the point where I'm like the guy people are seeking out because I know so much about something. That's
cool. That's a great goal, by the way. That's a cool goal, by the way. To be at a point where whatever it is you're talking about, that people see it and respect it right away because of how good you are at talking about it. That's a cool goal.
And Cliffside Malibu is fantastic, man. I mean, I grew up in the Palisades, which is just north of Santa Monica, and so I had a lot of friends in high school go through Cliffside.
Wow.
And then they came out and were, functioning individuals again.
Yeah, isn't it? It's crazy. You know what's so crazy about the whole thing is if you take any addict and you sit him down and you go like here's what your life is like, and you actually showed him, on camera, and said, and here's what your life could be like. That's sort of what Cliffside Malibu does. For me, I was living in an apartment in Venice across from Gold's. It was small. The conditions were shitty because it was, it's expensive to live out here. It was like $1,500 a month to live in a 10 by 10 room basically, which is like drive you fucking crazy. And so, I wasn't happy. I wasn't at a place in my life where I was happy. Now, looking back on it, I kind of laugh at what I was doing. Like, why would I even do that every day? That doesn't make any sense. That's not productive. It's not getting me anywhere. It's not moving my career along. I'm just sort of going through the motions and looking at it and doing it. But I think that if a lot of people knew sort of how easy it was, and the way I use the word the easy is because it's physically easy. It's emotionally the hardest thing you have to go through, because you can't get through any sort of rehab or any AA or anything without being completely honest with yourself. And that's like the hardest thing in the world. You know, if you had to write down 10 things that you do every day that you shouldn't be doing, like a thing, you know, start getting into things like that, you're like, wow, man, there's a lot of things that, like, maybe I'm not living my life the right way. Maybe I should, you know, make better decisions. And, like, better decisions might not be to drink or not to drink. It might be simple decisions, like, should I clean my room or not clean my room today? Like, little decisions that, like, end up being, you know, bigger things. I don't know. Well, yeah, clean up my room. Well, good, because this chick came over. Like, things, you know, things fall in line because you make them fall in line. Like, they don't just fall in line, you know?
No, those are all great points, because I try to do that as much as I can with just everyday shit. You know, it's my the first intro I talked about. Just do what makes you happy, and if you're not doing that, that is insane. Like, change up what the fuck you're doing and make the plans. Like you said, the list of what you need to do to become a better person.
And like you said, Chris, it's hard. Like, I read this book, Deepak Chopra, The Book of Secrets, and it's like when something happens that's devastating, whether that be an addiction or a loss of a family member or divorce, only 15% of the community will seek help because it's fucking difficult.
Yeah, it's hard to say that you need help. And, like, what happened to me was, I remember just driving around Venice, like, around the gym, and I was just calling places, like, how much does it cost to go to rehab? And they're telling me, and I'm like, this is, like, maybe a year before I even got sober. I was calling, and every place was like, wanted $5 or $6 grand up front, and I just didn't have it at the time. So that's I blew all the money on drugs, you know. So that's a hard thing to tell people, you know. And also, I had a friend from the gym. This is the reason why I stopped doing prescription drugs. There's a really, really good reason. I had a friend from the gym who would sell me OxyContin, Percocets, all that stuff. And I would meet up with him maybe like twice a week, and I'd probably drop like $500, anywhere from $300 to $500 each time I saw him, and buy, like, you know, whatever pills he had. I'd be like, here, give me whatever. And at the time I had money. Well, all that money went to him, and he's now dead because he committed suicide because he was going through withdrawals so bad from his, it was around Christmas time. I had stopped talking to him because he had gotten so bad. And that's one thing I feel bad about, is like, I feel like because he died, I feel like I gave up on him, but I didn't really know anything about addiction either at the time. At the time, I didn't really know anything. Like, I could have really helped him, but you can't walk through life going, you know what? Like, I could have helped my older brother not die, and I could have done more. And you can beat yourself up all day over that, but the thing is, Mad Dog was going to die. He was on that path, like.
Yeah, because everybody in the end is responsible for themselves. And
yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. It's like, I had several friends call me from the WWE and stuff like that. Guys would call me and say, "You really gotta help your brother." He's like, really. You know, I had all these people calling me from everywhere. So we knew he was in really serious trouble. But the crazy thing about this whole industry and everything, like, he was sober 62 days when he died. So his body just gave out from everything he's done, and he was on these prescription drugs that he was mixing, and they said that could have killed him. They don't really know what it is, but all I can tell you is that Mad Dog Mike Bell, his life went downhill when he started touching prescription drugs when he was like 18 or 19 years old, when he had a problem with a girlfriend, and the doctor gave him psych meds. Ever since then, his life was...
Yeah, and that's another thing the film touches on that shows that the introduction of commercial use for the psych meds, which is... For a while, if you guys watch the film, you'll see that there was a huge no-no and a big debate on, like, you shouldn't be doing that because it's dangerous.
Well, like, why can't people take acid? You're going to take something that affects your brain like that and messes you up so bad, then just let people take anything. You know what I mean? Like, these are the worst drugs on the planet. There's drugs that come, psych meds that come with what they call a black box warning, and that black box warning says, like, look, if you use this as directed, it still might kill you, and they're allowed to sell these things, and they're allowed to do these things because nobody looks at the black box warning. They don't care. You know what I mean? People buy it. How many times you read an insert on a prescription that you buy? Like, really, never.
Never.
And even now, I still don't. And that's like an admission that I'm not proud of, but it's like something where...
Well, I think we all do. Even like when you click on the agreement online, like when you go to sign in.
Yeah, iTunes. No one reads iTunes terms and conditions. They just click.
I'll tell you where it all comes to a head. Like where change is made and where things actually do happen through it. Is I made this movie and it's only been out for a day, and I got an email yesterday from a kid who was in medical school at USC, and he's a big fan of Bigger, Stronger, Faster, blah, blah, so he decided to rent this movie. And he said it completely changed the way he's going to operate his business when he graduates next year. He's like, look, I can't prescribe all these drugs. I was like dead set, like, oh, cool, people come in, I write a prescription, and I go, because I got to find something else to do. Like, I'm going to finish medical school, but I almost got to find something else to do. Like, maybe go be a homeopathic doctor or something different. And, like, the same thing, we have a guy in our movie, Dr. Garber, who's an amazing homeopathic doctor. In my mind, and this is the dumbest thing to think because I've never went to see the guy, I think, it's homeopathic, it doesn't work. And we have to stop thinking like that because guys like Justin will know that there are herbs and there are things that actually do work.
I use it for everything. And
what do you use?
Weed for everything.
Oh, for everything.
For everything. For everything.
Yeah, just daily life.
Yeah, I mean, I use it for headaches. My wife.
Did you smoke weed when you first moved out here?
No, I was anti.
I thought you were.
Drugs all the way till I was about 28.
Yeah.
And then I started smoking weed at 28 because of who was the Miami running back? Was it Ricky
Williams?
Ricky Williams.
Ricky Williams, yeah.
Ricky Williams got banned for smoking weed.
Sure.
Remember?
Yeah.
And his statement was, I don't smoke weed to get high and sit around and eat food all day. It was so I can read and comprehend. He's like, I'm smarter, I'm more intelligent, I can read book cover to cover. And that's what I remember seeing. And
basically, he had ADD, which now they give all these kids.
Yeah. I was ADD. I was diagnosed ADD, but when I took it, it made me feel horrible. I didn't eat, so my parents took me off it right away. And because I can't read and comprehend, and because, to a certain point.
Hey, don't worry, I'm terrible with that too. Like,
I think a lot of people are.
I'll read something, I gotta go back.
That's the problem with the whole schooling system, too. Me and Steph always have these huge debates on, like, we have kids, what do we do? And I'm like, well, we're not sending them to school because I don't like the learning system there. It's all about memorization, and if your brain works with
memorization and reward.
Yes.
Well, they teach to those tests,
it's not
too.
learning.
I mean, everyone's getting money
and
off the
I always
tests.
argue with Steph, I'm like, you know what the true test should be is give me the answer, and then I'm allowed to research the answer and put it on paper, and that's the correct answer. It doesn't matter how I get the answer, whether I Google it or I figure it out myself. The fact that I found the answer is the answer.
Yeah.
That's what I should be tested on.
And why is it bad to push that on kids? It's like a kid, like I would learn more about like doing my own research. And there's actually a school in like Philadelphia where I think ever since kindergarten, you go in and you basically tell the teachers what you want to do that day, and that's what they do, and that's what they learn about, and that's why the school is very successful. And I guess like all these kids are coming out of there with like where they're talking about, like I forget what the name of the school is, but I have a friend who actually financed Bigger, Stronger, Faster. He's extremely wealthy. Sent his kid to like this best school, and but they learn differently, and I think that's interesting. And we need to like look at like that's a great documentary to make. It's like not about like
how about the fact that
being underfunded and stuff like that. Just like what do you learn out of there?
Yeah, the fact that nutrition isn't taught in schools.
Oh, that's ridiculous. They should teach that in kindergarten. They should teach you
what's ridiculous, or have seminars that are free for parents to go learn about nutrition. I mean,
and then aren't the food pyramid
like the food pyramid's outdated.
Flip it upside down.
Yeah, you flip it upside down.
That's what
it is true. You just flip it upside down.
Where like the meat and stuff is like at the
exactly.
Well, that's at the top, and the small part should be the big part.
The big part, yeah.
Exactly.
I think I saw a picture where they just finally changed it, but it's not much different. It took about 50 years for them to make it.
Well, it's like anybody that puts like, look, I don't think there's really anything wrong with bread, but when people put bread into a diet, I always question the diet. I'm like, I know bread's not the best thing for somebody, especially when you're trying to like get ripped.
Especially nowadays, bread.
Right? So I'm just like, fucking bread. Like, why would they put that in a menu?
Well, especially nowadays, it's all processed shit anyway for the most part, and food colored and bleached and everything else. It's not like what we had as kids.
That's another thing is I'm slowly trying to follow you on getting more natural.
Oh, dude,
I like that stuff, and it's inspiring me.
You really do feel better in your brain too. I'm a lot more intelligent because of how I'm eating. It makes a big difference, and Sean follows a lot of the same values I do when it comes to eating clean. And it also
it's not that hard. It's funny. It's like not really that hard.
Whole Foods becomes fun once you start eating clean.
You're just like, look, it's basically eat meat and vegetables, and you'll get leaner. And when you need to like look a little bit more jacked, and you eat more
some carbs. Yeah.
Or if you're not feeling good, you
take in some more carbs. Yeah, that's exactly how I go by. I do the thing where I eat to be more intelligent, to not slow me down or make me lethargic. That's how I eat.
I think you should write a book. like a diet book because first of all you won a competition, a major competition, but also because you make it easy and fun, and it's not like fucking dead set. Like when I look at your meals, you're like, oh, okay, I ate this meal. It's like 8 ounces of steak, and then the other meal I ate 6, whatever. Like it doesn't seem to be it's not so regimented.
That's one of the questions I get all the time is, do I weigh my food? How many calories do I take? That's another question I get, and I know the answers I give to my people isn't what they want to hear. I just tell them I eat what I feel like eating, as long as it's from the earth, and I don't eat too much.
It's amazing. It's an amazing that it's that simple. It's that
simple.
People argue with calories in, calories out, and all this stuff, and like.
I think people think too much of it now because I think all the people who are the guru coaches, they want to make it more difficult. They want to make it more like, 8 ounces, and then next week we're going to bring it down to 7 ounces.
Well, because then we need them to tell us what to eat.
Yeah, we need that guy.
7 ounces instead of 8, and that's gonna do it.
And none of them are in shape. All the gurus, they're not in shape. So it's like, well, why the fuck would I listen to you? Well, they do know what they're doing. I'm not going to like discredit them for that, but like at the same time, it's like I always listen to people that practice what they preach way more than people that don't. Always, 100%.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Even when it comes to hiring trainers, chiropractors, massage therapists, I usually only pick massage therapists and chiropractors that have a fitness background because they know what pulled muscles and shit feel like. Just makes fucking sense.
I could go to a kid that's gone to like 12 years of schooling, all the way through med school, and then they come out and they be like a personal trainer. Like I could ask them how to train legs, but they're not going to be able to tell me like Justin's going to be because Justin's legs are fucking huge. So like, how is somebody going to tell me that's never done
worked out?
Sometimes they can, but
they don't know.
They actually didn't go through it. Yeah, they actually, and I always think when somebody goes through it, like when we were in rehab, they brought in a guy that never went to rehab. He basically just went to school and wanted to become a drug counselor. And that guy got fucking clowned and bitched out within like a day. People they're like right away somebody says, well, were you ever an addict? And they said no. As soon as they said no, the whole fucking class turned on him. Like I felt bad for the guy. I was like, man, this guy's catching some heat because he didn't fuck up his life and he's catching shit for it, which is kind of funny. But
it's that Teddy Roosevelt quote from like the early 1900s. He talked about the man in the arena, and he talks about criticism. He's like, if you're in the arena with me, I want to hear from you. Like, please talk to me. But if you're just somebody watching, like, I don't want to hear jack shit from you because you aren't in here with me.
Yeah, you don't know what it's like. And that's I think like a lot.
That's a huge thing. Yeah, it goes with almost everything. Like, and that's why it goes to like the fitness, the people who are the fake, I guess, quote, fake fitness people who are pretending to be know-it-all, and when it comes to this kind of stuff, like do your research. Just like
most people don't even do any research. They say that they do, but they're not on a computer research. They're taking selfies and they're like posting pictures and doing that. But they're not really doing like the hardcore research. And the trainers that I know that continue their research and their knowledge and all that stuff, like I really look up to that because I think it's important. It's not like you just get this.
It's also some type of responsibility you should be taking. Again, it's not always just, we're going to make money do what we do, but we're doing it in a moral way where we're trying to raise awareness, we're trying to better you as a human. We're doing this also out of the fact that it just feels good to inspire and make you guys do things that are cooler in the right way. And you got to really do your own homework when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And people have to fight through the conditioning that they've had. Like we've been talking about, I mean, people grow up seeing, hearing, and feeling what kind of others and at least in 2016, big corporations want you to listen to and want you to consume. And then you have to fight through that as an individual and actually do the research yourself and think for yourself.
Well, the thing is that you get to the point where like, I did do my own research. I read the New England Journal of Medicine, and it said that this drug isn't bad or whatever. Say, well, who paid for the New England Journal of Medicine? The drug company is the one that finances these medical journals. So how is it not biased? It's always biased. Always 100% of the time. So you can't even really get the real research on it unless you can go to the FDA and pull like all the tests. But you're not allowed to do that because they don't have to show you the tests that were bad. So all the tests that went bad with a drug, they just get thrown out the window and they don't have to show.
It's such a fucking broken system. It's amazing that more people aren't upset about this to raise. It should be fixed tomorrow.
Well, because Big Pharma,
it should be fixed tomorrow.
The problem is like the pharma lobby. They'll come in and say, look at our books here. Look at our numbers. We spent $1 billion to get this drug to market. Like we can't fuck this up now. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of things involved, and so that's what Big Pharma does. Like, well, look how much we did our due diligence. We spent the money, and so they use money as their leverage, not real knowledge and not real research.
So, Chris, do you think we can fix it with all the money that's going around? Or does the whole thing just need to crumble, and then we fix it?
They need to outlaw opiate opiate drugs, synthetic opiate drugs, because they're synthetic too. They can make as much as they want. So the thing is, they just need to ban the really, really strong ones and like maybe only use them in the hospital when somebody really, really needs it. But like, I don't know, you just see so many people on drugs that could kill them. Like there's a thing called a fentanyl patch. Now these fentanyl patches, like some people can't even put them on because they're too high dose, they'll die from taking it. And I would take those things and I would just like slap them on. I'd slap on like
what are they exactly?
They're basically like OxyContin in a patch.
Oh,
but it lasts for like 3 days and goes right in your system. Like you feel like put this thing on and boom, you feel like within a minute. And
wow.
And so what's great about for me, what was great about that is the last 3 days I'll slap on 3 and I'll have like
you'll feel really good.
The thing is, like, I could have died doing that, but you don't think about that shit when you're doing it. Like, it seems funny. In the movie, there's a guy named Horseshoe. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
So
great character.
It's my buddy, and there was a story in there that I was dying to get in the movie. It just somehow, again, like, you got to make things work and fit the right way, and just didn't seem to fit in. He had this story about he lived in Phoenix for a long time, and he would drive down the freeway every day. And so one day, they have cameras, and they'll take a picture of your car if you're speeding on the freeway. And so one day he got home and he got this ticket and he was doing like 95 and a 65 and he looks at the car and it has a picture, you can see it clear as day, and he's fucking sleeping, completely asleep. So he's doing all these pills, passing out the wheel, driving 95 miles an hour down the road like this. Like,
so intense.
Wow. Sleeping. So at the moment that camera took the picture, he was like,
completely assed out.
He was like fucking out of it because he wasn't just like his eyes closed, he was slumped over. He was like, like this. So he must have lost consciousness for a minute and then come back to him. Like, that shit is so dangerous. And it's like, why do we do those things? And why do we tell those stories? And why are they even funny after we tell them? Like, it's just because, the situation's obviously funny, but, like, it's not a really funny thing. Like, he could have easily died and he could have easily hurt somebody else. And that's another thing we have to think of as addicts and people that want to do shit and do things our own way and get our own way every time. It affects other people, and you gotta fucking remember that. You have to. Because, like, I didn't remember that, and that hurt me because my friends and family, they're left in the wake of that, and it's tough.
So you're doing good today, though?
Today I'm doing...
How long sober now?
I have been sober for, I think it's like 20 months.
Nice.
You know what's nice about it is, too, like, just like saying, we were just talking about, like, not taking everything so seriously. I could get up every day, I could get on my knees and pray, and I could do the AA prayer, and I could do everything that they tell you to do.
Right.
But I don't do any of it because I don't feel like I need it. Like, I'm like, well, I'll feel more ridiculous doing it than not doing it. So, like, you don't have to take everything so seriously. Like, even if you need to recover.
Because everybody has their own path.
For me, I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cooler not doing it than I am getting on my knees and doing the fucking prayer because I'm just not like that. Like,
have you found like your niche though, like your routine in the morning?
Do you have one to get going?
Yeah.
I think that's the most important.
You want to share that?
To get going. You know what's great is I actually don't have one right now.
You don't? Oh, okay.
Because I'll tell you, what I do in the business I'm in is weird. It's like, so when I'm doing a movie, then like I get up every day by like 7 o'clock, I'll go work out, I do whatever, right? And I just make sure things happen and get it done. When I'm not doing a movie, I'll stay up till like 5 in the morning and I'll go, I wake up at like 9 or 10. So it's like, it's just a different schedule because like right now I'm in a sort of like a research and we're doing a lot of press and stuff like that. So I'm just in sort of that mode. But normally what I would do is I would get up at like 7 and it just depends. Like if I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. A lot of times I'll take a protein shake. I only use one protein, which is the Slingshot protein, which my brother makes because it's hydrolyzed, so it's broken down a little bit more. It gets through my system. All the other proteins like sit in my stomach forever, and they just feel...
You'll digest.
Yeah, I don't feel it. So like if you do get bloated from a protein shake, just look for hydrolyzed protein. The hydrolyzed way is a lot quicker and easier. And that's what I used to do. Like do a shake, and then I would go to the gym. I don't do any pre-workout. I don't do coffee because I did all that stuff so much back in the days when I was an addict. I think I like completely burned myself out. And I don't tell you the truth. Like I get heartburn from coffee, so I don't drink coffee before I go to the gym. I'd like rather just go to the gym and train. Every once in a while, I'll have like a Monster energy drink, which I know isn't probably good. the no sugar ones, but they still have a bunch of bullshit in them. Sometimes I'll have that, but mainly the main thing for everybody is like just get to the gym. Like I have a plan. I have a plan to get to the gym that day. A lot of people lift at night, and as long as it's in your schedule for the day,
you're there always in the morning when I'm there.
You're good. Yeah, I actually haven't been there. I think in like a week. I was there yesterday for a little bit, but not for.
I have the hats I wanted to give you.
Oh yeah.
And I've been bringing them every day. Just
and now you don't have them here.
No, I have them. I have them here for you.
Okay.
What's funny was every day I've been carrying in my bag. And I'm like, I'll probably see Chris today. You've been traveling. You've been doing your thing.
You know what I love about meatheads? There's nothing like just texting me and be like, hey, bro, you need the gym tomorrow? And then,
That's true.
And then bring them. But we don't, like you said, it's hard to ask someone. It's like, well, that's a dumb question. He'll be there.
Yeah, it's usually what it is. Like, I'll just come in when I see him.
Yeah, but
and I'm pretty flowy, so it didn't bother me.
You know, I'm pretty flowy about fucking, like, I want everybody to come see my movie. So when we did that premiere thing, I had originally invited, like, 500 people. Like, it was going to be a huge thing. It was going to be, like, it was going to be a 450-seat theater.
Right.
But our distribution company was like, oh, we don't want it to be that crazy. And they like, cut it down on me. So that kind of sucked because it was, like, a little bit disappointing. But I understand why they did it. They just didn't want to give away the movie for free like everybody right up front. They're like, hey, this is a long thing. Like, let's just have, like, 200 of your friends come in and we'll do all.
It was a great turnout, dude.
What was great is, like, they didn't think that we could fill that up. I'm like, I could have doubled that easy.
Yeah, it was actually a really good turnout.
You know how many people we know. Just like, LA is like a different thing. It's like you have all these people that are like sort of like acquaintances that you sort of know, and you have people that are like, you know, better friends, and you have like your sort of close circle of friends, which is usually like 4 or 5 people, you know, pretty small, you know, and then it goes out from there. So like, I could have invited so many people, but we just wanted to keep it small. But what I loved was that everybody that turned out was there for me. You know, everybody came up and said, hey, I'm really proud of you. I'm really happy that you did this. And just seeing, like, my friends and stuff, like, because I have a lot of regrets. I don't know, just the way I acted, you know, and there's not really one specific thing, but I just wanted to be able to apologize en masse sort of to my friends and show them I'm doing okay. And so that was a great event.
Yeah, it was cool to see.
Chris, do you find that motivating too when people are coming out and engaging with you and they're like, thank you for doing this, like, we're here to support what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera?
Actually, I'm leaving here in a little bit, and I'm going to do what I think is the most important thing that you can do if you're an addict, an alcoholic, and you get clean, is to, the 12th step of AA, is to carry this message to other people that are still in the struggle. And at 7:45 tonight, we're going to go see Prescription Thugs in Santa Monica at the Lamel Royal where it's playing. And all the people in the audience are going to be from Cliffside, Malibu, like the people that are actually in rehab right now. The people who need the message the most are going to hear it tonight. And what I love about that is, like, this is a thing where, this is a screening where I plan on being there. Like, it'll get done at like 9:30 or something. I plan on being there till like 11:30 because I just know that I'm going to get stuck outside talking to people forever because they're going to need the help. But that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what you're passionate about.
Yeah, like, you know, all day today I've been thinking about, like, oh, I got to go talk to people. I'm just excited to, like, go and be able to address the people that need it. You know, I haven't been able to do that yet. So, like, all the screenings have been, like, Tribeca Film Festival, and there was another film festival we did that's Michael Moore's Film Festival in Michigan. We did that, and then it's you know, it's going to be fun to see what these people think. Who knows? They might shit all over it.
Yeah, and I think it'll just keep catching fire too, and that's why I wanted you on the show because it's everything that I'm about as far as just creating a healthier.
I'll tell you what I wasn't used to is we did get a couple of people, few, but like a couple of people gave us like kind of bad reviews, and I think the reason that they gave us bad reviews isn't fair. Like if I'm a reviewer and I don't like a certain type of, they don't like the fact that I was like sort of the main character taking you through it. They don't like those first-person documentaries.
Yeah. Starting yourself.
And it's like to give a bad review because of that for something that's so important. You know, like some guy was like, "Oh, this is a really important topic, but this is a really bad documentary on a really important topic. It's not going to help anybody." And so what I want to do is go help fucking everybody, and I want to take all these people and I want to go to that guy's fucking house. And I want to be like, okay, well here's all the people I helped. So I just want you to write a nice
review and then fuck off.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, it's the man in the arena, man. Like all those people that are with you, they're in the arena with you where the criticism is coming from outside in the stands.
Well, on Rotten Tomatoes, Bigger, Stronger, Faster has been like 96%, which is like pretty unheard of to like stay that long, you know, for that long. And there's, you know, the other movies up in that category are like classics, you know, so I think that that's fucking great.
It is cool.
And I think that it's something I'm really proud of, but we did get 2 bad reviews, Bigger, Stronger, Faster. One guy just didn't get the movie, and the other guy, it's probably a guy who never played sports or never did anything. You know, he's fucking writing film reviews in Sacramento. And then there was this other guy that wrote a bad review, and what he wrote was he didn't like the fact that I didn't tell the audience what they should think. And so I wrote him this nice, long email back, and I said, look, man, if I was to spoon feed the audience like everything I want them to think, then I wouldn't be doing my job as like a filmmaker. I want them to think what they want to think.
Yeah, think for themselves.
You know, and he's like, I've never heard that kind of answer. I want to change my review. So he loved my answer, and then he went to Rotten Tomatoes and tried to change his review to a tomato instead of the splat they give you. And
that was nice of him, though, to want to go back and edit it.
They didn't let him do it. They told him like you can't change your review. Once you've submitted it, because then everybody be doing it for like people be doing it for money, you know. Because I think that the studios have to pay off like Rotten Tomatoes and those websites. They have to pay off critics. There's no way that that's not going on, because there's some movies I've seen, like this last X-Men movie. It was like I couldn't even watch it. It was so bad. It was just like the costumes looked really cheesy, and I don't know, everything to me was like really campy.
Everything's just big and explosive.
Yeah, I was like, so the movie was like 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm like, this is going to be awesome, you know, because like that's what Iron Man got, and like so you can't really compare movies like that. You have to like, and that's the thing about movies that I love.
That's what I try to do with, you know, what is good is Netflix. Netflix is pretty good, fair reviews. So when I go to Netflix, as long as it has 4 stars, I'll watch it.
Well, you know why Netflix is reviewed by the people that watch it.
Oh, there you go.
And that's why, because the people that like, I'd rather have. The consensus on Prescription Thugs is people that everybody's seen it is telling me they loved it, right? And so a couple of critics give you a bad review. You can't give up on the movie, and you can't give up on the message. You have to like carry that message. So like my goal is to, rather than let somebody tell me, oh, they don't think it's going to go anywhere, to show them and go help people.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Well, and you're doing it for those people that want to watch it and actually need that help. You're not doing it for the critics.
You know what the problem is? Everybody, I think that the critics that wrote bad reviews, which I said, like, there's not that many. There's like maybe four bad reviews. There's like maybe 4 reviews that have some negative stuff in it or whatever. But out of those, I can tell you for a fact, not one of them's ever been addicted to anything, and you can tell by the way they write. They're like, oh, this is a blah blah blah. You know, like, it's people that have no fucking clue about addiction writing about what I should be telling the people that are watching the movie, and it's completely backwards. So I want to like actually write them and tell them. But I don't have time to be writing to all the critics. Take me forever. I was like, who cares? let it roll off your back, and who cares? I think sometimes, honestly, on social media and even on YouTube, sometimes I think it's best to just ignore the replies. Like, just ignore what everybody says, because like, who gives a fuck? Like, I posted this. You're watching it. Why do I care if you don't like it? You're watching me. I'm not watching you. I didn't seek you out to watch my video.
You can't please everybody, and you will reach the people you're trying to reach, and that's the truth of it. People are eventually going to make up their own mind, and people that talk shit or aren't satisfied with whatever it is, that's okay.
Well, let's remember it's the internet too. It's like the internet was made for people to talk shit.
Yeah, and I think that if people actually saw the movie, you know, like when they see the movie or whatever, I think that most people's consent, like, overall things, like, this isn't really just a movie about prescription drugs. This is about about my family, you know, and what we've been through, mixed in with these other stories of other people that have gone through this, and so it really has a different feel to it. I mean, it doesn't really feel like, it doesn't have to be just about prescription drugs. About what did prescription drugs do to this family? Well, they did a lot of things.
And what you soon realize, I think a lot of families and a lot of people are going through what you've gone through.
You know, you can't.
That's the crazy part.
The thing is, like, the very first screening we had, it was in New York. It was for Tribeca Film Festival, and have the lights go off, and they bring the lights up, and they introduce the filmmaker, and then the very first woman stands up and starts crying about her son that died, and you're like, you can't fucking buy that shit. Like, that to me is like the ultimate high. That's like what gets me high now, is watching people say, you know what,
connection.
This fucking helped me.
Connection.
And yeah, and now I want to talk to you. And I think that, like, I think all of us are just these beings, like, floating around. Like, we kind of just all want friends. We all want people to like us. We all want to, you know, please people. And I think that I don't think there's anything really wrong with that.
No, not at all. That's how it's what we should be promoting more. 1,000% more. Like, when you say those things, you're speaking about connection. People are yearning for that. And the problem is that the wrong people are feeding them false connection. And numbing them almost with all these things, instead of showing them how to actually live and be happy, and not putting it under a rug.
And everybody wants to put everything like in a box and be like, this is the way it should be.
Right, and that's not the case.
You know, like look at your whole situation. Like, you got married in a pretty quick time. Like, you met the girl you love. You got married quick, and some people may have shit to say about that. You're like, well, who cares? I'm happy.
All the time. It's just to touch base on that. It's a lot of people can't comprehend. Also, how I show my wife on social media. Like, I've gotten emails like, you have no respect for the covenant of marriage or something like that. Yeah, I've gotten that before. And my response is always chill because I don't give a shit. And
I'm actually staring at a picture of you.
Of my wife's ass on the wall.
But it's actually a really cool picture.
It's artistic.
Yeah,
well, that's my point. My response to the guy is not everybody views the body in a pornographic way. And that's one thing to really think about. We have been told to view the body in a pornographic way. We're told to look at it in a taboo way. And I don't think like you. So you guys realize, like, I look at my wife's body as artistic, strong, and beautiful. And because you're not used to seeing a butt or a nude ass or a body. And
what I love about you, though, is that you never address that online. You don't, like, if somebody writes something, you
can't. You're too primitive.
Yeah, and you never really... you're never really angry. It's something that I actually, just so you know, strive for all the time. It's like not to necessarily be like you, but there's a lot of people out there that are like that just don't really fucking get angry.
Well, to touch base on that, I get asked that a lot. I had my buddy, his name's Osmond. One time I was having a conversation with another mutual friend, and they were talking about me, and they were like, it was mainly about Justin. He just doesn't give a shit. And I wanted to touch base, and I had to correct him. Like, it's not that I don't give a shit. I just care about the correct things. And you got to remember, a lot of people in this world, they're not up to date, they're not that intelligent, and they're going to say stupid shit, and their opinion really doesn't matter unless you want it to.
The thing with that, as human beings, we take it to heart. Like somebody with zero credibility, some crackhead might be like, I don't like that movie, and I'll still be like, man, I didn't like it.
They didn't like it. That bothers you.
Why do you like it?
Yeah, and the truth is they don't like it because they don't like themselves, and that's the craziest part about it. When you really fucking break it down, anybody has a problem with your film and doesn't get it, they don't get themselves. They're in a shitty place. Like, unless it was a really, really shitty film that like promoted prostitution, to promote to take drugs or do those things. Yes, okay, that's a bad film. You shouldn't promote to do that. But your film is nothing but perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nothing but perfect. That's all you gotta say. It's nothing but perfect when it comes to establishing a problem that's going on. You put yourself out there, and your family out there, and your own troubles out there for everyone to see. And
there's parts of the movie I can't even watch. Like, I can't watch the part where my mother says, like, when we got the call and they told us something was wrong with Mike, I thought that he had overdosed. I didn't think that he died. And, like, when she says that, like, that fucking kills me every time. And it kills me when she said it, and it kills me every time we see it, and it kills me every time because it's just like that motherly feeling of, like, somebody calls and says, oh my God, there's something wrong with Justin. Like, your mom's going to flip the fuck out. Like, that's what moms do, and it's like, and you can feel that. You can feel that coming through the screen when she says it. Like, that's the stuff for me that's, like, real.
And it's amazing that you actually put yourself out there, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people hide. Like you said, a lot of people hide behind their own problems. And the fact that you're doing it you showed all what's behind the curtain to inspire is what the whole point why you're doing it and why we're doing this. And that's what's cool about it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, like, it always means a lot coming from you, because I think that, like, there's not a lot of bodybuilders that I respect in a way like I respect, like, you and some of the other people around the gym, because, like, you actually care about people, and I think that that's really important. There's guys in the gym, like trainers like Tito Raymond. He cares about everybody so much.
Awesome, dude. You ever meet Tito, Sean?
I don't think so. No, but I can totally see what you're talking about, Chris, because I was nervous having you on the show because you're this acclaimed filmmaker, and I was like, I know possibly the only reason is because you know Justin and you know who he is, and so you're going to support that.
The reason I'm on your podcast, to tell you the truth, is, like, I love doing this shit. So, like, if you called me and I didn't know Justin, I'd still do it, because I've been doing it all depends on the approach. Some people will bother the shit out of you to try to get you to do something, and something like Justin just asked me. I said, "Yeah, sure. Like, let's do it Sunday."
Yeah, it was quick. It was like a 2-second.
Like, you want to
text message? Yeah. It's like, hey, do a podcast. I love you. Cool, let's do it. And that was it. And then I didn't hear from him the entire week until, hey, I'm at your door.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah, where do you live again?
Yeah, so everybody listening, it's not like Hollywood stuff. It was just a text message and friends got together.
No, but the thing is, like, me and Justin, like, I trust Justin, and I know, like, dude, he's a fucking meathead. So, like, if he says he's going to show up at a certain time, like, most guys I know that are very regimented and dedicated, not just a meathead, but I'd say bodybuilders, they have to be so dedicated that, like, I don't know, and just Justin's personality, he's not the kind of guy to show up late or not show up. I'm not that person either, so I think it's like, it's easy, but, like, if you called me, it would maybe take a little bit more than 2 seconds, but I would say, oh, yeah, cool, let's
do your research on this guy.
Figure it out. Yeah,
who is this guy?
It would take a week or two, but then, we get it done. But, like, I like to do this stuff.
Well, yeah. Did you now? I guarantee you probably know who Tito is because Tito is one of the coolest dudes ever.
Jose's brother.
Jose's Raymond's brother. Younger or older?
He's older.
Tito's older.
Yeah, but Jose is a fucking tank. Well, Tito's drug free.
Yeah, he's a natural bodybuilder. He used to be a natural bodybuilder. He still bodybuilds. And then he switched over to CrossFit, and he became a freak in CrossFit, like the age like 44, 45 years old.
He's old, but
he's actually one of the, when anybody asks who's one of the best trainers in the gym, I always mention Tito, right along with Charles, just because Tito's when I try to describe what makes a good trainer, and I get asked this a lot, what makes a good trainer, I use a reference as what makes a good teacher. Not everybody can be a trainer, and not everybody can be a teacher. You can learn the material, like we said. You can learn the material, go to school, but if you don't know how to teach and connect with people, it's probably not the career for you. And that's what makes Tito and even Charles so much. They know how to connect with people in that way. And that's what I've learned from. I've watched Tito and how he works with people. And you make it to where they're so comfortable with you, where they look forward to the day, just to be able to connect with you. Yeah, weight training is a part of it, but you're releasing other things.
Yeah. I always think it's funny, too, like in the gym. I was just thinking about this as you were talking about these different people. It's kind of interesting, like, and you were talking about being nervous about having me on the podcast. It's like talking about like lifting partners and stuff. Like you guys just like train together and stuff, right? And like, like you're like, oh, I wouldn't, I was scared to have you on the show. Like, there's a lot of people that lift with me when we go train that like are kind of the same way. And I'm like, well, who cares? Like, I'm just here to train.
But that's what
I'm doing like powerlifting and stuff. So I try to coach these kids and help them. And they're like, sort of, why are you trying to help me? I'm like, well, because they think I'm just going to go away or something. But I really do want to help them. So I think that a lot of times that they definitely. They come to me and they respect it.
That's exactly how I was explaining you to Sean. I was like, let me give you a background on Chris, because I was like, I don't want you to be nervous because Chris is completely fucking normal. He's like the coolest dude. He'll flow. He's just like how we are.
I want to be weird, but I just don't know how. It's like.
But yeah,
I think it's kind of just being yourself these days, right? If someone's themselves, like they're weird.
I want to dress like Justin in the gym. I just can't pull it off yet. So.
It's good. Yeah, I don't know. I can't
Justin will show up looking like Where's Waldo or something. You're like, what is he wearing? But still, it's like, you know what I love though is it's cool because you're like you said, you only care about the things that are.
And then it radiates off you. It's the funny part. It's like. I care about the simple things. I care about making people happy. Like I truly, a lot like you do. When you think about these guys in recovery, your goal is to connect with them and reach out on a cool level. I do the same thing, and that's what I use my social media for, and this podcast for. Is to first thing when I wake up is how can I be creative enough to make someone happy, or post something that someone will write me about, and then I even take time to respond to that person. Because they took time to respond to me.
And the thing is, like, little things make such a big deal.
Huge.
Like, huge. If you write an email to somebody that just asks you a question, that's a huge thing for them. And if people respect that and actually know that, then most of the people I'll respond to in a second. Like, there's some people on Facebook that hit me up about everything. Like, should I do steroids? Should I get sober? Blah, 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 blah. And the reason why I answer them is, A, at the time I'll have the time. And B, I want to try to help them. I want to see if I can do something. What's really, really weird is when I get these phone calls and emails from people that said, it's sort of how the movie The Resurrection of Jake the Snake happened, was like, I'll tell people to do something, and then like a year later they come back to me and say, hey, remember you told me to do that? I took your advice. And it's like, I was just talking on my ass in the gym when I told the guy, you should make a movie about Jake the Snake. Like, you have access to him and everything. You guys should film everything. And then like a year later, they called me and had a rough cut of the movie. And I was like, what movie? Like, the one you told us to make.
That's so cool.
It was kind of like that in a way. It was like I really helped push the director into, like, making it into a film. And
like the seed?
Well, they were trying to do it, like, as a bunch of, like, they were doing it as, like, a series of YouTube videos. I'm like, it's just way more important than that. And that's what the difference is between, a movie and, like, somebody's YouTube videos. Like, when you make a movie, it's, like, it's had time, to sit there and time to think about it and time to, like, actually, make something that's big and structured, and like with YouTube, it would be a waste of time to do that because the return on it's not that good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, we never know the impact that we have on others. You were talking about responding to a fan. You guys may not know this, but they go on in their day and they're acting more positive now because of that, or they're happier, and so they get to infect the other people in their world, and so now those people are happier. Like,
they go and tell
no one knows when that ends.
Yeah, they probably tell all their friends, like, hey, I met Chris Bell, and people are like, who? Like, wow. So for them, it's exciting. But we got to realize, like, to the rest of the world, like, we ain't shit. You know, like, I was just talking to my brother about his business, and we were talking about, he was talking about, like, getting a sponsor for his podcast, like Monster Energy. And he was talking about, like, having a big business, you know? And is your business a small business or a big business? And all this time, he was assuming he owned a big business. But a big business is any company that makes over $120 million. He's like, I'm not even over 200 million. Yeah, 200 million. So he's like, I'm not really close to that. You know, I'm pretty far away from that. But how do you get to that point? You know,
yeah, you do fathom, like, how the fuck do I get to that point?
And
to only do cooler shit, of course.
What's completely retarded about Smelly is somehow when he said that, I'm like, okay, now I believe it. Now he's going to figure out how to make this.
How to do it?
Well, he's just turning it into like a machine. Like, you start out being okay at business, then you get better. And then to be the best, you got to just really, you got to be shrewd. You know, I think I like what you guys are doing with your built thing because it feels like it's like nice and evenly paced with your lifestyle. Like, it's not.
Yeah, it's very natural. The way the built fell into place was extremely natural. And that's another question I get a lot is, you know, how do you start a company?
Yeah.
And for one, I think for it to be a long-lasting company, you can't be like back before. You can't be one of these fake. I mean, unless you're fucking so good at business, and then you see those guys do.
Well, what's crazy about Built too is like in the beginning, I think I remember telling somebody like, I don't know if like girls would wear that. I think maybe I told Esme or something.
Yeah.
Girls wear Built, and then like now I see all these girls like fucking rocking it. They're like they like being built, like they think it's cool. And at first, my first opinion was like, I don't know if a girl would wear that, like a guy would wear that.
Yeah, I was concerned about it too, and then what I did was because built, a lot of people always say, I'm not built yet to wear your product.
Yeah.
And what's great about that is that when I came up with the slogan "I am built," it was actually first like a state of mind. When I came up with what I'm built for is the actual slogan that went through my head. I am built for what?
Yeah.
And it could be anything you want, and that's what made it. Overall, just it reached a lot more people.
Yeah.
It reached a lot more people. Girls could use it. Skinny guys could use it.
But I actually, and the reason why I told you that is like I like when I tell somebody, because I try never to tell somebody that it's not going to happen or not going to, like I would never tell you to your face that I would rather like, talk behind your back.
Right.
No, it's like, but it was a mutual friend. And
right.
If it was something where I was bashing you.
No, you were just asking a question.
I was like, are girls going to wear that? You know, because it was a girl that we were talking about, and then and they said yes, and I said okay, well cool. I just didn't think a girl would be into being built. They didn't think that they want to be petite and whatever. And she's like, well, not girls that lift really. They think it's cool or whatever, you know. So, but I like I like when people are. I like when I'm wrong because I'm the first to admit it, you know. So.
Well, what you do probably if you were intelligent when you're wrong, you learn and you evolve. Some people, when they're wrong, they get bitter.
You want to hear a crazy story? Is I'm sitting with in my brother's kitchen. So we're up in Sacramento in my brother's kitchen with Bill Phillips. And Bill Phillips is a guy who invented Metrex and he invented Myoplex and EAS, and he sold his company for $200 million at 34. It's $160 million, I think, at 34 years old. So imagine that. The guy's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
He figures out how to make these products, how to market them, and do all this shit. So we were talking about stuff, and he like made a joke about something being gluten free. I'm like, well, gluten free matters, doesn't it? And like, because I thought I had the information, and he gave me so much information and why it's not going to matter for me, And completely changed my mind. And then I came home like, fuck this gluten free shit because Bill Phillips says it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like he's like, unless you really have a celiac disease, he said it's just not going to make a difference, and you couldn't. What he said is you wouldn't be able to measure the difference by the time you die. So who cares? Like, if you can't
that's so true. Are you gluten intolerant at all or no?
No, I mean I never really have a problem. I feel like like for me personally is I blow up a lot when I eat a lot of carbs because I tend to eat a lot.
So you're carb sensitive more than gluten sensitive.
Yeah, like because I tend to eat. But it's more like I'm probably nothing sensitive. I'm lazy sensitive is what I am. So for me to figure out all the right foods for me to eat and do all this stuff, like I would love to go get like my blood tested and figure out everything I should be eating and doing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like I'm just kind of lazy when it comes to that stuff. Like I'm like whatever.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of people are.
I don't get around it. But after making this movie, and after getting sober, the number one thing that I started doing is just taking better care of myself in general. Just in general, like. And when you go to rehab, it kind of teaches that because I don't want to like be graphic or gross, but like when you're an addict and you sit in your house and drink all day or take pills all day, and just fucking hang out. You don't tend to take a shower a lot. You don't tend to brush your teeth every day. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's just being honest. Like, sometimes I go a week without brushing my teeth because I was a fucking addict. Like, I didn't care, you know what I mean, at all. I didn't even care. I didn't have enough pride in myself to even do shit, you know. And
yeah, I have a good friend out here, Chris. He's been, this last New Year's was his 7th year sober. So he went through AA, and, you know, he's a proud alumnus. And he talks about the same thing, and he kind of refers to it as self-love. Sure. And he's saying that through the AA process, he learned to love himself again, and so now he's making those choices to make himself a better person.
Yeah, you know, I didn't get to explain more before, but this is sure to explain a little bit better, like talking about taking a shower. So after I was at Cliffside, Malibu, and I couldn't afford to take care of me, you know, anymore for free, I was shipped to another place. Another place is called the Claire Foundation. Claire Foundation is on Lincoln and Pico. It's like the worst place to be. It's like crackhead alley.
Yeah, that's right there.
Facility there. Somebody's wanted to put a rehab facility there. And it's like living in a jail almost. And I was there for 20 days.
Oh,
and so it was fucking brutal, man. It was the worst. It was. We're not the type of people that fit in there.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like we would walk. You know, you would be very uncomfortable there because I think. Because I'm very uncomfortable there. I'm sleeping next to like a dude. But what's weird is like I was also, because I'm able to get along with a lot of people, able to get along with them. So I'm sleeping next to a guy who he's in there for like crystal meth, and he's telling me as soon as he gets out, he's going to smoke meth again. Why the fuck are you in here? He's like, government pays for it. Like, so people don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing about the rehab I went to secondly was the battle became with the people that were in rehab. I wanted to get sober because I wanted to be like, fuck you, man, I'm sober. Get away from, you know, these people.
Get away from me.
No, these people would be like, I'm telling you, man, like, I got almost in the several fist fights.
Oh, wow.
Just a lot of shit happened there that wasn't good. And the problem is, like, if I did get into a fight there, everybody's kind of worthless. Like, nobody's ever lifted a weight in their life. You're going to kick the shit out of everybody, get in trouble. So, like, that wouldn't be good either. So I'm telling you, like, but when I say to fight somebody, it's because, like, they're threatening you or threatening your property or threatening, like, you know, and you just don't feel.
Space.
Yeah, you just feel like, you know, whatever. It's not like that bad. Most people get along pretty well in there and can sort of like make it work. But you have a lot of people that are very, very, very mentally ill, and that's usually
the tweakers are probably rolling up and through there. And stuff.
Oh yeah, we had this black guy who was very, very, very openly gay, and he was HIV positive, and he'd run around naked at night, and we'd be like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man! Like, we don't. Like, I don't even care that you're HIV positive and they're allowing you to work in the kitchen. I don't even care about that. Just don't run around naked in front of me, because I know enough information about HIV and how you can get it and all this other stuff, and so they allowed him to work in the kitchen, but he could just do cleanup. But that didn't bother me much as this guy running around. Oh, and then another thing that was amazing. This is fucking amazing. Picture this: going to rehab at Claire Foundation, and you end up at what's called the Al Olympics, which is the Olympics for AA.
No way.
It's like, yeah, and I would say Special Olympics would destroy these guys.
Oh, wow.
No, I swear to God. I swear, I'm not kidding. Because people are so, like, that have been addicts for a long time. Like,
oh, man.
The people that we were around were like, I don't know. It's just tough to explain, but I mean.
This could be a good South Park episode.
People are broken. You know, like, they're real. And that's what's sad about it, is, like, some people are really, really broken. And what I feel sad is, like, when somebody doesn't have any hope. Like, when I get sober, I have a beautiful girlfriend to go home to. I have an amazing brother, and his wife is amazing. My parents are amazing. You know, everybody around me is fucking awesome. So, like, you know, I have to keep myself up there as well, because I don't ever want those people not around me because of the way I act. And that's
well, it's cool that it motivates you as well. You know, as well as being in the different rehab facilities you were and finding that motivating to get out of there. That's not you.
You know what was like the nicest thing, and like this is just like honest, like from the heart. Like one of the nicest things this year was being able to buy my niece and nephew nice Christmas presents, and like my whole family really nice Christmas gifts. Not because I never had the money. I had the money in the past, and I would blow it on like big extravagant gifts, but they didn't really mean anything because I didn't really give it with that love. You know what I mean? Like, and so there was a difference there, because it's like this year I just felt so connected to my niece and my nephew. They're like 10 and 11 and 8.
You think that's from mainly?
It's definitely from getting sober. Like, I care about kids now. I care about things that I didn't used to care about. Like, I'll go up and pet people's dogs now. I just didn't used to be like that. You know. And
was that from basically like, because I've never been I don't think I've even done any type of pain medications. So I'm ignorant to it a little bit. Does it numb you? What does it feel like?
Have you ever done heroin?
No, never heroin.
I took a shot at it. So basically, if anything in your body hurts right now, anything, just sore, hurts, whatever, that'll go away. But you also feel kind of like fuzzy. You feel like everything feels so good. So like you definitely like have a heightened like sexuality. You have a heightened desire to like have sex and do things like that.
Okay.
Sometimes you take too much and that will completely
Reverse it.
Yeah, wipe you out.
Okay.
A lot of times that happens to a lot of people, but it just like it's sort of I don't know. People always ask me about Adderall. And I'm like, well, is Adderall good? And I said, depends on where your mind's at. Like if you're thinking about porn and you take Adderall, you're just gonna jerk off all day. You know? So it's like whatever you think about with Adderall, like sort of you can focus in on it better, you know. And so yeah, I don't know. I think pain medication just feels it's hard to explain because like it does feel great and it makes you feel sort of invincible, but in a way now thinking back on it, also made me feel very sick and weird. My kidneys I can feel my kidneys hurt. Because it's that bad for you. I can feel like my liver and my kidneys, like my lower back in one side used to kill. People said, "Oh, that's your liver." I'm like, "What?" Or your kidneys or whatever.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it was, but
yeah, your kidneys. Did you? And I watched your film. The one guy said he was up to 90.
Yeah, horseshoe. Yeah.
What were you at?
Probably about like 20. You know.
But I remember Masters. He told me he was at one point he was at close to 75.
Yeah, Masters was definitely in it to me. But you know what the thing is? Like, I don't think it's any different if you're taking 20 or taking 70. It's just the amount.
Yeah. The
problem is manifesting itself in you know in other ways. Like so, it manifests itself in like Chris Masters, for example. You know, at one point had gotten fired from WWE. Because he was on painkillers, you know, and that just sucks, man. He was a kid that they had like they were so high on, and the WWE was like just really pushing him huge, and you know then they fired him for taking pills, got rid of him. Then they brought him back, and they kind of jerked him around again, and that's like a tough thing to deal with. I think that's why a lot of these wrestlers and athletes get on painkillers, is it's more to numb like the pain of just fucking being alive sometimes because things are difficult and people are putting you in, you know, like if you had to wrestle every day, 300 days or 200 days out of the year or whatever, and you were never around and never got to see Steph and you never got to do anything that you really wanted to do because you're sort of owned by this company, like, fuck it, I'll take all the pills I want. You know?
Yourself.
Yeah, it's an escape at that point.
Well, the WWE doesn't allow you to smoke weed. How can you tell somebody, jump off the top rope and drop an elbow, but you can't smoke weed even if you live in Colorado? Because it's like, it's just the way that it is. You know, it's
it's just crazy.
It's a publicly traded company that they want people on drugs. Working for their company, but I think that them and the NFL need to figure it out because there was a report the other day on TV about NFL players smoking weed.
Oh yeah.
And I think maybe Jerome Bettis said it, and Jerome Bettis, like Hall of Fame running back, and he said, I would say about 80% of the NFL is smoking marijuana. And the guy was like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, 80. It's got to be at least 80%. And they're like, how do they get away with it? And they take masking stuff, and they do all this stuff. They didn't really get into it too much. I wanted to sort of see more information about it. But I actually have a friend, Rob Van Dam. Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Rob Van Dam is a really famous pro wrestler. He's a huge pro wrestler. And he's one of the most agile guys. He's like but he's always stoned. Like, stoned.
So he's like me.
No, but you're always like chill. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like, dude.
Baked. Yeah, I don't get baked.
Dude?
I don't get baked.
Okay, so that's terminology. He's baked.
He's always baked, huh?
But he actually is making a film about marijuana in sports, and I think it's a great topic. It's a really, really great topic. I actually want to get involved with it and help him a little bit further because Rob Van Dam has smoked a ton of marijuana and is an amazing athlete that performs at a level better than if you go in Gold's Gym and you see Rob Van Dam and he's squatting, he's going at least up to 405, at least. So
Didn't he go to the Olympics too?
And his ass to the grass. You're thinking Mark Henry, maybe?
Possibly.
Mark Henry.
I remember the name Rob Van Dam from growing up.
Yeah. So Rob Van Dam was based on all the Van Damme movies. He's like sort of he does all these big flying kicks and all this crazy shit. He's probably one of the best athletes they've ever seen in pro wrestling. But since he smoked a lot of weed, he had gotten released from the WWE a bunch of times. He kept getting, every time you get caught, you have a $2,500 fine. He got fined so many fucking times, it's ridiculous, So
just for smoking weed.
Yeah.
Isn't it Diamond Dallas Page? He does some like holistic medicine now too, and he's gone the other way.
Yeah. So DDP was he was my co-executive producer on the Resurrection of Jake the Snake. He's actually kind of the star of it because he's the one that takes Jake through all the sobriety stuff. And DDP, he's never been an addict to anything, and actually acts a lot more like you. Everything's natural. He eats nothing bad. And DDP took him through the whole rehab process, but like basically did it at his house. Said, all I do know is you need to start working out and start eating good. And stop drinking. Those three things we can do those together.
Where can we find this?
Resurrection of Jake the Snake is on iTunes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's on iTunes also. They'll be on Netflix pretty soon too, I think.
Well, dude, it was a pleasure having you on, man. I couldn't wait for this week to end. It's the first time in my life I couldn't wait for a week to end.
Well, put it this way, we can do it whenever I live right down the street.
Yeah, I know. It's so great. I love Venice, man. It's like I got such cool people here. It's so
my hope is to be on here, once every couple months. So.
Awesome, dude. That'd be great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
I'm
it's a pleasure.
Very supportive of what Justin's doing and this podcast. And we know a lot of people together. I can help you.
Where can they find your film?
Contact people if they need to.
What information?
iTunes. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon. It's actually in theaters right now. It's in about 25 cities in the United States. So if you just check your local listings, you can find it. And probably the easiest way is to watch it on iTunes. That's what I did.
Guys, check it out. I watched it last week. It was truly, truly inspiring. Just in every way, honestly, it's an awakening to just pay attention, and be more aware of what's going on around you, and it's amazing that Chris has let everybody in like he did on that film. It's very personal, and I highly recommend check it out. It's definitely motivating and humbling in every way.
And thank you, Chris, for doing what you're doing. Brush the haters off, man. We need you to keep going.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I've never felt better. I've never been. Been just more mentally strong. Physically, I'm a little beat up, but we'll get over that. That's another thing that you don't take care of is your body. I just destroyed myself. Justin saw me tear my tricep in the gym about 3 years ago, and I still never got it fixed. So that's another thing. I have to go get my tricep repaired if I want to lift heavy again, because it doesn't work over 300 pounds. So it doesn't work.
Well, hey man, always a pleasure. We'll have you on very soon. Everyone who's listening, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit us up with feedback. Just super pumped for next week. I want to keep doing this with you guys, and like I said, it's all about inspiration, positive shit, and hopefully we can just make you see things differently. So stay tuned, and we'll keep coming out with some cool stuff. Thanks so much, guys.